Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shawn Kravich. I'm the director of the Los Angeles HIV Law and Policy Project.
And I'm Rebecca Watson, a staff attorney at Inner City Law Center.
So today we will be presenting not formally on housing, but on legal service delivery in the context of the social determinants of health. I want to give you a little bit of background about the collaboration that we are a part of, and then go into more detail about the work that we do. But the Los Angeles HIV Law and Policy Project, or LA HELP, is a collaborative program of 4 different primary entities: Disability Rights Legal Center, the AIDS Legal Services Project of the LA County Bar Association, Inner City Law Center, and UCLA School of Law. However, as I'm looking around, even without my glasses on, I see a number of our community partners that we've worked with pretty extensively. We operate a centralized intake program for anyone with any kind of HIV-related legal issue throughout LA County, but we also do presentations and community workshops on HIV-related legal issues. So I see Jeff Bailey from APLA, Shelley from LaFan, Rolando from West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation. We are broader than just a single agency, and the way that we are able to operate is through these collaborative relationships. So I want to actually talk about the continuum of care, which is something that we frequently discuss in the context of HIV-related medical service delivery. We see really high rates of diagnosis, not perfect, but still significant, and slowly but surely, in terms of full viral suppression, things are carved out one by one and people drop off along this continuum. But our stance is that although these are framed in the context of medical service delivery, they're actually legal obstacles that prevent people from achieving the next level of care from a medical perspective. At every single one of these intervention points, a legal obstacle might prevent a person from being retained with a specific doctor or having access to their medicine. And so arguably, if a person is living without these legal obstacles, they probably have a significantly higher chance of being retained in treatment and getting viral suppression. So I want to go over just a list of the types of legal issues that the clients that we work with face. I think it goes without saying that HIV is among the most heavily stigmatized identity category that a person can face. And unfortunately, because of that, people living with HIV face discrimination in virtually every sector of their lives, including the context of employment, immigration. The United States government until 2009 had an explicit HIV ban, preventing people from entering and getting legal pathways to citizenship if they were living with HIV. We see this in virtually every area, and unfortunately, housing is certainly one of them. And so Rebecca's going to give you some concrete examples, and then maybe think about how we can all work together going forward.
Housing-related issues are central to our work at LA HELP, and amongst the cases that my team works on, it represents about half of the cases that we work on. I just want to talk a little bit about how housing-related legal issues are a barrier to individuals being retained in care, where I really live, to link it back to the care continuum, is I really live with my clients on the area between linked to care and retained in care. The reason for that is, as we heard this morning with our wonderful speakers, maintaining housing stability is central in order to achieve positive health outcomes. And where my clients are referred to me, they're most frequently referred from many of the people in the organizations in this room, where they are, for some reason, facing losing their housing because of a legal issue that they're confronting. On the ground, why it's so critical is when my clients lose their housing, which I don't let it happen very much, but it does happen occasionally. And what happens is usually one of three things. The first is that in LA County, they are often pushed to the outer limits of the county or to another part of the county they're unfamiliar with. They might have to travel 2 to 3 hours on public transportation in order to get to the care provider that they are used to going to, that they want to go to. Or second, they become homeless. And we heard this morning how, by definition, individuals who are homeless have unmet subsistence needs, and how that's the primary risk factor in poorer health outcomes. Or number three, and this happens as well, is that my clients are forced to leave LA County, perhaps move across the country to move in with family members. I have lots of clients who are from all over the country, including from the South. And in any of those three situations, they're really at risk of losing their retention in health care. Because we understand that housing is critical, there's a few areas of housing representation that we work in. One is preserving individuals' access to affordable housing, to making sure that individuals have access to healthy and safe housing. Oops. And then also allowing clients to live in housing that's free from discrimination. And just to make it concrete, I wanted to give a few very brief examples of the type of legal representation that we do. So one case was involving a client we represented who she was living in shelter plus care housing. However, the assisted individual in her housing had been her partner. Her partner had been abusive towards her, and when she called the police on her partner had a restraining order placed on him. He had to move out. But she lost her linkage to that shelter plus care housing, and she was going to face having to move out. She already had her end date of moving out. We were able to represent her and convincing the housing authority that she was eligible. They weren't certain based on her immigration status whether she was, that she was in fact eligible for that care, for that shelter plus care unit, and that she needed to stay in the housing, that she also needed the types of services that would be provided. Another example is with a client who had a Section 8 voucher, and he'd received a termination notice that he was to be terminated because he had unreported income and they believed he'd engaged in fraud. Now, this is a client who was on disability benefits. He hadn't worked in 10 years. It turns out he'd been the victim of identity theft, and the income was being earned in Wisconsin. And we were able to convince the housing authority to cancel the termination. He was able to stay in his housing. I give these two examples because, as you can see from these examples, getting individuals into housing is only one part of the equation. Once they are in housing, they can face additional legal barriers that can threaten to push them back out of housing, or even to get into the voucher system in the first place. But as Shawn said, it's not just the housing-related cases that are central to our work. It could be any type of barrier, like immigration status that enables them to get benefits, or proving that they're eligible for those benefits when they've been denied benefits incorrectly. We work on all these types of legal issues because we see every day how intimately connected they are with getting individuals into housing and making sure that they stay in healthcare and have access to the healthcare that they deserve. But we're very proud of our services. However, what the bad news is in this situation is that civil legal aid in our country is really in a crisis. The vast majority of individuals who will face a civil legal issue this year, they will face it alone. They won't have any legal advice. They won't ever talk to an attorney, and they certainly won't have an attorney represent them in it. This really presents a significant obstacle for the clients that all of you are serving. Legal services are one of the least funded supportive services nationwide. We're very lucky in LA County because the Housing and Community Investment Department believes deeply in legal services as a crucial supportive services, but that's not true everywhere. And finally, if you have clients to refer, the information for the legal intake line, as well as the website and fax number are here. Thank you.
Thank you.